Welcome back to Red Hood, right here at Comicstorian, where we take some of your favorite comic books and we break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you. We've been doing the Red Hood and the Outlaw storyline for the New 52 on a continual basis every Sunday right here at the channel. And today we're going to be moving on to the next portion of it. This is the second half of Volume 5, and he just defeated Ra's al Ghul and his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Isabel, just left him. So, what's going to happen next? The next day, Roy Harper sits aboard the Temerian ship on their secret island, tinkering away with his new pet project, asking what's wrong. This tiny robot has a nuclear core, 17 microns of hypergelignite, and a level 12 AI processor. Why isn't it doing anything? He sighs in frustration as he sits back, when suddenly the tiny robot springs up and skitters across the floor, climbing up into the air vents. Roy quickly jumps out of his chair, crawling over to the duct to chase it. But meanwhile, over in the cockpit of the ship, 3 figures begin to teleport in. As the aliens appear, one asks, shouldn't they deactivate the security system? And what seems to be the leader says that the Temerian princess, she thinks she knows security. The fact that they got this far easily proves otherwise. But Temeranians do know about interstellar travel, which is why you're here, and why we've commandeered this ship. Lift off in 10, 9, Roy stumbles out of the air duct, grabbing onto the robot, stating, "Ha! Gotcha!" And then he hears the engines kicking in. He looks outside to see the ship taking off and simply says to himself, "Oh, this can't be good." Outside, Jason watches the ship rocket off into the sky, and he radios to Starfire asking, "Why the hell is your ship leaving?" She responds, "Her ship? It's hers, because it came from her planet. Roy's the one who's actually in the ship. Why don't you ask him?" Jason tells her that he's been trying, but he can't reach him on the comlink, not on his cell phone, and not even with the psychic trapdoor that he set up with them through the League of Assassins. Starfire asks him what trapdoor, and Jason tells her, "Don't worry about it. The point is, our boy Roy ain't answering on anything." Starfire flies down, stating that the ship is gone and something is wrong with Roy. They're stuck here. This can't be good. So moments later, in deep space, Roy crawls back into the air ducts and sees the 3 aliens and thinks to himself that, well, he needs to do something, so how about... At that moment, he just starts shouting, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" And he shoves the tiny robot out. The aliens look back, and one of the larger ones picks up the robot, asking, "What is this?" The tiny robot begins to beep, and several seconds later, it explodes, blasting that alien to pieces. The leader of the group then pulls the guts off of his shoulder, and Roy watches, stating, "All right, it's time for me to step into the spotlight." But before he can make his entrance, he sees the pieces of the aliens begin to reform, and the alien groans as his body comes back together. He yells, "That gives me a buzz. Anybody else get that feeling?" And Roy pauses for a minute, stating, "Okay, wait, stop. New plan." He turns back and makes his way into the computer room to try and get a better picture of the situation. Then he sees one of the aliens loading something into the chute. The alien leader of the group enters a series of commands into the console when the large canister that the other alien loaded is fired out and down onto the nearby planet. Roy rubs his chin, asking, what could that be? Are these guys scientists? The planet down there's a paradise. Maybe I misjudged them. Or maybe it's a probe? At that moment, the canister explodes and hundreds of self-replicating nanobots pour out. Hundreds turn into thousands, then millions, then billions. Roy watches, stating, "That isn't a probe. It's a weapon. One that just wiped out a whole planet. Wait, there's something else. If viewable from space, the emblem on the aliens' coats is then imprinted onto the planet." And Roy asks, "Just who are these guys?" Roy hurries back, grabbing his bone quiver, stating, "Okay, 3 against 1. Might as well make some trouble, right?" Once the courage builds up, Roy kicks open the duct and he begins to load his arrows, with the leader of the group shouting, "Ah! Get him!" Roy flips a switch on the battery pack on him, and then wires hang out of the duct, and the larger aliens grab hold, pulling him out. He tells himself that he just has to wait and deal with the punches until... The battery pack then opens up as it reads, "Charged." The leader of the group pulls an arrow out of his head, telling the others to just hurry up and kill this guy. Their buyer will be here in a minute, and he will be less than pleased if things aren't ready. Roy smiles through the hit, stating, "Good night, ladies!" And he pushes the button on his battery pack. Suddenly, electricity shoots out of the pack, striking each one of the 3 aliens repeatedly, with Roy getting back up, stating, "Booyah!" As the aliens' bodies begin to crumple onto the floor, burnt up, Roy walks back over to the computer, telling himself that he's going to need some aspirin. Lots of it. As he grabs the bottle, a call comes in with Jason shouting, "Roy! Roy! Are you alive? Is everything okay?" Roy tells him to relax. Everything's fine. These 3 aliens stole the ship with me in it. I took care of things. So, Why are you calling me now? Jason tells him that the aliens must have been blocking all transmissions, but don't worry, him and Starfire will be there soon. Roy tells him, all right, let's just get a few things straightened out here. Wait, what is that buzzing? Just then, Roy is hit with a blast and knocked to the ground. Before he can get back up, he feels a heavy boot pressed down on him and a voice tells him, don't waste your breath. It's going to be taken away in a second anyway. I've been watching you and listening. I've seen everything. These idiots I hired were pretty bad, right? Saves me the trouble of having to pay them. All I need to do now is finish up the loose ends here, and then those friends, well, don't worry about them. You're gonna be meeting them soon enough, you know, when everyone's dead. Now time to take that big gun and destroy this whole planet. Booyah! Lobo begins to laugh as he puts pressure on his foot, squeezing what little air is left in Roy. Lobo kneels down with his cigar, telling him, you shouldn't feel bad. You are gonna die along with 6 billion others on this planet. All the animals, plants, fish, birds, and other vermin are cluttering up that rock. Roy struggles, telling him, you're bluffing! We are way too far from Earth for you to fire that gizmo. Lobo shouts, shoot at Earth? No, that's too small. There's a war brewing, a big one, like Ron and Thanagar. That sort of thing. Firing a weapon at Earth isn't gonna get much attention from the buyers. If you want a high prize, you're gonna need lots of attention. That's why I ain't aiming at the planet. I'm aiming at a star, a white dwarf. I'm gonna make it into a black hole. Lobo then begins to blow smoke in Roy's face, telling him, I know everything about astrophysics. It's about time that you get real scared. As Lobo taunts Roy, the recovered aliens get back up with the leader stating that they can't seem to find where the signal from the other ship is. It just disappeared. Lobo asks, how does a ship disappear? This is a state-of-the-art war vessel. The stuff on this ship can find anything. At that moment, Jason radios into Roy, telling him to get out of the way. Find somewhere to hide and close your eyes. Roy begins to ask why when there's a bright flash of light as the small spaceship teleports into the cockpit. Jason steps out, helping Roy, telling him, hola, amigo. And Roy asks, how? Jason tells him, look, it's a long story. We stole a ship, which we used to steal another ship, and well, here we are. I guess it isn't such a long story after all. Roy kicks Lobo's hand, telling him, whatever, I appreciate the effort. Save my butt and the butts of billions. And Jason asks, all right, so what do we need to know now? What's the top priority? Roy tells him, well, first things first, there's a weapon on the ship that we need to dismantle right away. Trust me on that, and when that's done, we can take care of the bad guys. As the three begin to walk away, Lobo grabs onto Starfire's leg, slamming her into the side of the ship that they arrived in. Jason then cracks Lobo in the back of the head, asking, did you forget about us? And Lobo laughs, yo, I guess I did, but I think you also forgot about them. Lobo's mercenaries pull themselves out, and one quickly grabs a hold of Jason, and then he cuts off the alien's arm. Jason then asks, is there anything else I need to know? And the severed arm begins to reattach itself. Roy tells him, yeah, they heal. The second large alien charges in, punching Roy in the side, and Jason says, okay, just need to slice and dice these guys a lot more. Hold still in. The alien fighting Jason then reaches out, snatching a sword, snapping it in half. And as the alien tries slashing Jason with a broken sword, Jason tells Starfire that he could really use one of those atomic energy blasts right about now. Her eyes begin to glow as she states, with pleasure. And the leader alien laughs. Haha, pathetic. A pure-blood Tamaranian warrior following around a bunch of inferior breeds from a backyard planet as if you were a lapdog. You've lost your edge. War is science, and you haven't kept up with the recent advancements. Advancements in strategy, weaponry, and of course, verbal psionic trigger phrases. The alien then shouts something in a strange language, and before Starfire could stop him, she grabs a hold of her head, screaming out in pain. Roy starts to get back up and quickly scans the area, trying to come up with a plan. What is he gonna do? Jason's busy, and Starfire's knocked out, and Lobo is, well, he's getting the weapons set up. After a few moments, the larger aliens look around, asking where the guy in the red suit went. Lobo continues his work, telling them to go find him, beat him, and drag him back. After all he and his friends have done to them, they've earned a front row seat to the end of the world. Their world, to be specific, bastards. Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, Roy is making last-minute adjustments to another robot when the two large aliens appear behind him. One of them picks up Roy, and the other two begin to punch him. After a bit, they return to the cockpit, dragging Roy with them just as Lobo launches the canister. As the canister goes flying, it changes course, and the leader alien says that the projectile is heading back towards them. Lobo asks, how is that even possible? And Roy begins to laugh. He then asks, what did you do? And Roy says, anything is possible when you turn someone's ultimate weapon into their own. At that moment, there's a clicking sound followed by several more. The room is then filled with nanobots, but before Lobo can claw his way out, all of them disappear along with Lobo and his mercenaries. Jason sits back up asking, "What just happened?" And Roy tells him, "Nanotech, don't think too much about it. All you need to know now is that Lobo and his goons are far, far away." Jason tells him, "Right." So the trained assassin gets his sword snapped, the warrior princess is knocked out, and the fate of the world hangs by a thread. And then you saved the day with a toy robot the size of my thumb. Makes sense. Roy tells him, "Yep, that's about the size of it." Jason stares. "Wow." And Starfire wakes up. Yes, wow. And that concludes Red Hood Volume 5, which brings us to the inevitable conclusion that is coming very soon. So if you enjoyed this storyline and you want to get more Red Hood, consider subscribing to our channel. We would greatly appreciate your support here. But also don't forget, you can find us right here at YouTube memberships, where you get early access to the videos and you get to hang out a little bit and stuff like that. We're trying to plan that out to be a little bit better, be a bigger project, and I hope to see you guys there. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Comicstorian Gaming, and I'll see you next time right here.